Hey, how's everyone doing today? My name is Steve from Burke Family 54 Comics. Welcome to another live stream. Today I'm going to be hanging out with Austin Otte, assistant to Clayton Crain, to talk comic books, to talk covers, to talk art, all of that. Before we do that, let's hit that intro. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Austin Otte now. What's up, man? How are you?
Doing great, Steve. How are you doing today?
Dude, I am doing well. I think this looks better. What do you think?
Looks fine. Either way, I guess. The other one made me a little bit. I like it zoomed out a little more.
We can do that. We can do that.
Okay.
Before we get any further, I do want to remind everyone that I'm doing my 2,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm giving away a Batman 24 and a CGC 9.8, as well as a Team T Last Ronin #1. If you've not already entered, a link to my giveaway video is in the description. Go to that video, watch it to see how you can enter. And yeah. And also, really quickly, today's video is sponsored by comicbook_pressing on Instagram. Protect your comic book investment for as little as $10 by using Eric from comicbook_pressing. He presses all tiers and grades of comic books, and make sure you use my promo code BURK54 to get free shipping back to you. Again, today's live stream is brought to you by comicbook_pressing on Instagram. All right, man. Let's go ahead and head up the chat, see who else is in here, say hi, and then we can get started. Michael, what's up, man? How you doing? Dale, what's up, man? Austin LeMay. So he's a fellow artist, great friend of mine. I have some questions from him that I can ask you. Ben Muth. So he's the guy that you thought I was at the Topeka stop. He's the one that was wearing all the Turtles gear at the stop in Topeka. So he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Really, really good dude.
I message Ben all the time now. He hooked me up with some great books when I first started collecting too. So.
Oh, dude, nice. Dude, Ben is an awesome dude. What's up? What's up, Mark? Legion of Comics. Ryan Pond, hello. Captain Comics, what's up? How's it going? Okay, so we're going to be talking comic books with Austin Otte. Very first question is going to be very simple. If people do not know who you are, give a little synopsis about who you are in terms of, comic books and all that stuff.
Well, I've collected comics since I was a kid. I think my first comic was Ultimate Spider-Man #1, and I left it in my closet, and I remember moving out of my mom's house when I was 18, and I found it, and it was just like ripped to shreds, and I think my dog even took a bite out of it. But I think that book's probably worth something now. So, and then I had like a Lethal Protector I got I used to go with my grandpa to card shows all the time. He would collect baseball cards, and balls, and he had the entire Hall of Fame of signed baseballs. Some of them were team balls, some of them were kind of low quality balls, and I think he almost had a card for every ball that he had, but he had a ball for everyone in the Hall of Fame. And he taught me about like PSA, Beckett, grading, memorabilia, authenticity, stuff like that, and would take me to swap meets, and like I would watch people trade, and there's so many different archetypes of guys. There's like the wheeler and dealer, or the collector, or the old school guy, or the newbie, and all these fun little. It's got its own little ecosystem whenever you're trading things like comics. And so like I remember I was always very bored by that. Never liked baseball or football. I would play Yu-Gi-Oh, and I would go and skim through the comic books, and I found a Lethal Protector, and I have some now. I don't have my original one. I gave away all my comics, but I'm sure many people are pretty familiar with this book.
Yeah.
So this is my first real comic that I got. I remember it was $8 back in the year 2000, and geez, I wish I didn't give away so many books. I had a Spider-Man Noir near mint that I gave away. That book's like $500 or something. So there's all kinds of stuff like that. And then now I have nice books. Some of my nice books are put away, but like now I get to have stuff like this. So this is a Clayton Crain I got too much glare, but it's a Clayton Crain Wolverine returns in a Gator guard, right? So that's that's better than a lethal protector. So I'm
That is
happy with
a
my
sick
collection.
cover, dude. That is a sick cover. I'm
And
a
then
sucker for some foil. Yes, me too.
you know, I just realized there's some Newton rings on this CGC book, but they're really hard to see. That's what I was just staring at. But this is a revision that I did over a Clayton Crain book recently. So I'm also Clayton Crain's assistant, as many people know, and it's got that new Knoll label on there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I've got what that book looked like in my box here, but I'm not going to dig it out. But it was Venom, you know, changed it into Toxin. I'll just do like these kind of full body revisions, and people find those entertaining, and that's just something I picked up from Clayton, you know.
Assistant artist has its perks.
Yeah, like watching Clayton paint all day, every day, and I'm just like, you know, I've always wanted to be in. I never really wanted to sell my art, but watching Clayton work and talking with him and stuff, and it's like, it kind of, I realized that there's no other path for me because I don't really have a lot of opportunities. I'm plenty talented, but I'm bored by most things. But I'd never wanted to sell art because then it would become a job for me instead of like something that I just do for fun.
Will you bring me a drink too?
What did you get? Did you get food?
My wife brought me homemade spaghetti and meatballs.
Wow, that looks amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And then she glared at me when I asked for a drink.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Oh, shoot. So, okay, you're assistant Clayton Crain. You're an artist yourself. You look like you're around my age. I'm 33.
I'm 27.
Oh, wow. Okay, even younger. Holy cow. So, wow. So not that story you told me the other day. That's makes it even crazier now that I think about it. So I'm going to ask you to explain the story. We're going to talk about your art. We're going to talk a little bit about Clayton Crain, and we're just going to talk comic books. So for the people that don't know, how did you meet Clayton Crain? How did you become the assistant to Clayton Crain?
I wish that I had my I have it right here actually. Hold on, I gotta find this one book that I think everybody should have this book if they're a Clayton Crain fan, and this will kind of help with my story here. I should have had this prepped beforehand, but what did I do with it? I have hundreds and hundreds of Crain books now. These are all books that I bought myself, but okay, maybe I don't have it. Oh well, but Crain has a book called Clayton Crain Evolution. You can find it on Amazon, and it's like a sketch. It's a bunch of his sketches and early work that he put into just. It's basically a comic book. CGC grades them, and they are. It just has inside of it all of his early work, and that was something that I helped put together for him because when let's see, so I was 16 years old. I did the math the other day. I've been off on the math before. I was 16 years old, living in my mom's house, and I just started really getting into comic books. So I was reading Carnage versus Venom, or Venom versus Carnage on Marvel's online comic reading thing, right? And then somebody just gave me their subscription to it. We never really had very much money in our house, so it's like, now I still don't buy my books until I read them online first, and then I'm like, okay, now I'll spend money on them. But so I was reading those books for free, and I was like, wow, this is like some next level art. Like I've never seen anything like this. And this was 2010, maybe 2009. Yeah, I think it was 2009. And then so I was reading those books, and I loved the front page of it so much. I'll grab that because I know where that is. The front page of that book is this art right here with Carnage and Venom. This is kind of an homage to an older piece.
That's incredible.
And this one was actually signed in 2010, I believe. That's one of his older signatures.
That's an older signature.
But yeah, so that was my favorite piece. I had that as the background on my computer. I've always built my own computer, and my mom comes into my room and she's like, "Oh, so he's Clayton Crain," because he would write his name at the bottom of his art instead of like a signature that's hard to read. He would just print it, and she was like, "Oh, so Clayton Crain is a parent at our daycare. Did you know that?" And I was like, "Nah, she's just messing with me. That's like a joke." And then I was like, but she's like, "No, really." And then I was like, it's kind of a weird joke. It's kind of a weird thing to say. And so I Googled him, and then you could see his picture on, I forget what picture they used back then. And then I watched outside the window as he was coming through, and he's like a foot from my face through a pane of glass. And I was like, that is that guy. And I was like, that is the weirdest thing ever, that he's been coming to my house for a few months now, dropping his kids off and stuff, picking them up. And so it took me several months to actually work up the courage to talk to him. And then at Christmas time, we have a Christmas party where we'd have my mom would have like 20 families all bring their kids and their parents and whoever else they wanted. And if anyone brought kids, we would all chip in and buy and get presents for the kids. And we'd have a big tree, and my grandpa would come dressed in a really nice Santa Claus outfit. And then on that night, I brought him a Spider-Man sketch, a really bad one. The webs were all upside down or whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, that's cool. You should come over and check out my studio and just help me be my assistant." And I was like, "All right, I mean, sure, why not?" And that was it, really. So every day after school for probably a year or more, I would go over there and sort all of he would just put down like a box of old comics that he's worked on, or like a box of sketches, or his office was just full of just crap, and he would just have me organize it and look through it and then catalog it in. He only used Apple computers back then, and I build Windows computers, so I was just like giving him a hard time about that the whole time. Like, geez, these computers are terrible.
I'm a Mac guy. I'm an Apple Mac.
Oh, you're one of them.
MacBook, iMac, all of that. That's me.
Yeah. Oh, my camera got blurry. But yeah, so I cataloged all of his stuff, and then he used that to make his Clayton Crain Evolution is the name of this sketchbook, and I advise everyone go buy it. It's really cool. Shows you a lot of his early work. If you're a fan of his, I think everyone should have it, and bring it to him and ask for a self-portrait, and he'll give you something extra special for the book. So.
Dang.
Yeah, there's a tip. There's a pro tip. If you're coming out to the next Crain Road Tour, which is going to be probably in July, but it could be spring or summer, somewhere in there.
So you heard it here first. There's going to be another Crain signing tour.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we haven't announced anything about it yet. So.
Okay, I have a friend. Really quickly, there's like a echo or something.
Is there an echo?
There is an echo.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
It said if there's an echo, put in headphones.
I'm in Austin's group. Now he has infinity signatures.
Yeah.
And I was calling it the.
One sec. Okay, say something.
I was calling it the Otte.
What's that?
I was calling your infinity signature an Otte.
An Otte, right?
Yep. Just like the Crain bow.
I'll have to settle for that until there's a better name for it. But there you go.
There we go. So if people don't know, he is the assistant Clayton Crain, but he's also an artist, and not just an artist, a pretty darn good one too. What a great story! That's all. Sweet.
Yeah. Let me show you my little tiny Otte bow. So this is a piece that I did recently, and it's just a Noel. I have so much glare. Noel versus Thanos, right? But then you look. Let's see down. Oh, I can't get it right down there.
There it is.
Is a little AO, but it's rainbow, but the black is wrapping around it. So I got all 6 colors in the into those two letters. So I'm pretty proud of that.
That's all.
Crain already did that, of course. I mean, my whole career so far is just an homage to Crain.
I like it.
And at first I was doing a signature that looked okay. It was just kind of a cursive. Didn't really like that. Then I did a blocky signature, and I was like, no, that's not working at all. And then I was talking to Crain about it. I was like, what should my signature look like? He's like, it doesn't look like mine. And I was like, yeah, you nailed it. He's smarter than me. So I was like, well, obviously it should look like his. And so this is my current signature. So it basically just looks like his current signature.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I've seen your block signature with the rainbow.
Right. That was the last one I ever did. I was like, all right, we're done with this one.
Okay. All right. Are you guys coming to New England? So up
You say New England? I have no idea, actually. I'm assuming we're going to be following a similar route. So, last time we came to Altoona, Pennsylvania, that's probably where the most people in that region gathered to. I know a lot of people are asking us to go into New York and Maine and stuff like that, but I think we're going to try to stay on the periphery.
Okay.
We're gonna try not to go too deep, but who knows? I'm not really in charge of that.
That makes sense. My friend, his name is Ruben Guzman. He lives in Oregon. He wants to know, are you guys ever going to come through Bend?
Ooh, Bend. I had a great time there. Saw a Tenacious D concert when I was
Tenacious D!
15.
Nice.
Absolutely, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Tenacious. So does Crain, actually. We both will sing it on the road tours. We live life on the road. So
yeah, I was
the roadie.
gonna ask something about that later in the live stream about what are some funny things. Like, I'll ask later. So, okay. So do you think you might come through Bend in Oregon, or you're not sure?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that I assume that we're definitely going to be hitting places around Washington, places around Florida. So it's a high chance that we're going to be hitting somewhere near Oregon, but you might have to drive a little bit further, maybe to Washington or something.
I got you. We need to see you in Montana. Please come to South Carolina. Please hit up Georgia. Bend, Oregon. Everyone wants to see Austin and Clayton Crain.
Yeah, they want to. Yeah, Austin and Clayton Crain. Yeah, but no, we always have a great time, and we want to go back to every place that we've ever been to. But that's difficult. but we'd love to.
That's awesome. So you met Clayton Crain while you were already kind of being an artist. So from what I've seen, you are more of a painter, and a lot of other, like Jim Lee, he does pencils. Greg Capullo, pencils. But both of those guys are more interior artists. You are more of a painter, and that's what Clayton Crain is, right? Too? Am I correct there?
Yeah, you could say that. And I, like anyone else, started out with just doing pencils, and honestly, I'm pretty new to all this, and my career as a painter has spanned all of since July, so I'm pretty new, and that's why, like maybe this year, my goal to be try to get published by some really tiny self-publisher, or I got a couple things in the works that would count as published work, so something like that to get published would be cool. But I mean, I do everything. I'll do pencils. I don't know, man. It's like basically Crain started out as a penciler, and then he said he got tired of people changing his work so much with the inks and the colors that it would end up being something else. So like his passion overtook himself, and he just branched out to a new medium, and it like started blowing people's minds because his digital work is so much especially back then, his digital work was so much different than everyone else's. And he's basically, I don't know everything about every artist, but I'd say he's one of the most trend-setting artists out there, because he'll do something and then you'll see so many artists not not really mimic him, but they'll be like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And then they'll start doing a thing like what he does. But, so when I do my work, I mean, I have all kinds of pencils and stuff, but basically people will pay for these cool revisions and commissions on these covers. So that's kind of what I'm limited to right now, is just doing that for paid work. But I do all kinds of stuff for people. I'll do cool logos, because what Crain really taught me to do over anything else is how to use Photoshop to paint, and how to use it to just do all kinds of stuff in terms of graphic design. And basically, you can use it just like paint. But people don't really want digital commissions. They want a graded comic that they can hold in their hands,
Right. And you do that.
Yeah, I do whatever I have to do to keep doing this, instead of going back to UPS or whatever company wants to have me doing their thing. So
I'm gonna say a few things from the chat, and then I'm gonna show off some of your work, and we're gonna talk about. Austin LeMay, also an artist. He had some questions for you. We will get to this here in a minute. I'm not sure if people are aware, Austin Otte has a Clayton Crain Facebook fan club page. We might not know Crain fans or Otte fans as well. This is true. We are Otte fans and Crain fans. So I was on the Craniacs and the Crains Facebook page, and you added me, I want to say, and then I just showed up on your live stream. Right after you added me, I looked up. I'm like, that's the same guy. And then I showed up on one of your live streams where you're painting, and I was like, what's up, man? So I'm going to show off really quickly some of his artwork, and I want you to talk about what goes into these covers, which one's your favorite, and also if you could answer this as well for people that don't know that. So let me show this off really quickly here. So these are some of the artworks that he has done. I'm just going to show the image. So this was done on a Spawn 309. And it looks like a lot of these covers, like you said, you do these over the top of either Crain covers or other covers as well. Am I correct there?
Yeah, so I still have that one right now. Instagram, I wish Instagram was better about showing the entire image.
Yeah.
That's the part that drives me nuts. So, yeah, I'll do revisions, because revisions are cool. They're unique. They're cheaper than actually doing a full blank, because I don't have to sketch. I'm really just coloring in, Some of the gruff I've gotten about 2 haters. I've only had to block 2 people in my since July. So I think those are pretty good numbers. A couple of people have been like, you're just doing revisions. That's not even original art. And I'm like, well, it is original art, first of all. And second of all, people like those because they're so much cheaper. They're like 30% cheaper, probably 40% cheaper than what it normally costs. And you get art that's just as cool, So it's like people really gravitate, especially that one, like that Lethal Protector with the toxin, that's a home run.
That's a home run. You knocked that one out of the park, man. I don't even care
about it.
That cover is just amazing.
Yeah, anybody looks good on that cover, I found out. So I got like a shredder coming up for that one. And
a shredder coming up for that?
Yeah, I got all kinds of weird characters that are going to be on that cover.
I love this one.
Yeah, that one rules too. So the guy who got that one and the toxin is getting 4 more, and it's going to be like anti-venom, null, carnage, and then venom over venom. Just make them look like my version of venom. And
nice.
Yeah, so they're going to be pretty sweet as a set. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy doing all of them, and I think that they're just a lot of fun. I never wanted to sell my art, because that would be like taking the fun thing that I've always done. Like when I was 4 years old, ever since I can remember, probably started when I was 2 or 3, is I would just draw all day, every day. And
I love this one. This is one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, the Spider Gwen.
Yes.
I nailed her abdomen. It looks really good when you zoom in on her abdomen. But let's see. I have this sketchbook from when I was 8 years old, and I've got a Venom and a Spider-Man in here.
Let's see it.
Right here. Okay. There's my Venom. I'm very proud of that. So basically, I would just fill up these 70-page lined notebooks all day, every day, right? And these things, and then I would rip the pages out. Crumple it up, throw it under my bed, and then I remember I moved out of that room when I was 12 years old, and the entire underneath of my bed was just all those crumpled up. I don't know why. It's just always been like when I'm at school, people will put down homework in front of me and I'll flip it over where it's blank and just start drawing on it and not do any homework. I probably did 20 pages of homework for all of high school, and I still just like D average, just passed barely because I just wanted to draw. I didn't want to do schoolwork. And I would just draw. I'd make a really nice piece for the whole period of class, and then I would just throw it in the garbage can at the end of the day. Sometimes people would fish it out of the garbage can, like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, ever since I can remember, I just throw away my art, But now I'm like, all right, I guess I'll sell it, and it's working good. And I'm like, I'm just sucking it up, basically. I'm like, you know what? Who am I to say no to that? Who am I to be like, I'd rather work at UPS or something, So it's like basically you just got to get over it and just give people what they want, right? So
how much do you charge for a cover commission that you do when, like, all said and done, send it to CGC, or if you can do, like, if you'd prefer to give two different prices, raw versus CGC, what do you charge usually for these covers that you do?
Right, yeah. So there's different levels. Like I said, like a revision is much cheaper than working on a blank. So like if I work on a blank, so let's talk about like one full body character, or because that's generally what people ask for. So let's see. If you're supplying the book, because a book could be X dollars, right? So if you send me a book, then I would charge you about $95 for a full body revision. So that's like the toxin on the Lethal Protector.
Okay.
Except the toxin had a title change, right? So like it goes up. If you want a full title change, that could be like $30, $40 if it's like a big complicated title where, I'll make like these something like that. I'll make these templates so that I can kind of put the exact title on the book and make it look nice, I can't see what I'm doing here. Okay, here's Spawn. Yep. So like I did a nice Spawn on a book once and I used that. So like it just depends on what you want on there. And then if you want it graded, I charge an extra $45, and then to ship a book, it's either $10 or $15 for a slab. And that's just because I pack it really well, and I don't use media mail, obviously. I don't shame people who use media mail.
So it's normally around $150 to $200 or so if they wanted it graded and the book, because sometimes you're going on top of a $30 to $50 book if it's on top of it. So roughly around $150 to $200 for a graded book with your art on it.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. And my buddy Austin Otte, he asked me to ask this earlier, and I think I knew the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. How do you, as an artist, submit your own book to CGC? Because he sent some art to a friend of ours, a mutual friend, in a CGC yellow label, but he had to go to a facilitator, and the person had to watch him do it in front of them, and then he gave the book to that person.
No.
So I'm assuming since you work with Crain and you submit books all the time, you are considered a facilitator. Am I correct there?
Yeah, you only need to do that if you're having someone sign a bunch of books and they're not using their artist account. Like Clayton could, if he wanted to, do the road tour all by himself, no witness, collect all the books himself. At the end of the road tour, submit them. They all come back to him, and then he ships out all those books to the people they belong to. He doesn't want to do that, so he lets Black Flag facilitate it for him, hence the witnesses, because he's not doing it through his account is the only difference. If you're using your account, you don't need a witness.
So you would suggest to artists to get an artist account with CGC?
Yep, it's free, and you can just Google CGC artist submit, and it'll be the first link. It's a news article that says artist submission form. I'll show you what that looks like. Well, hold on, let me finish. I'm doing a very delicate thing.
I was gonna say, you are just like any artist I've ever seen. Well, you're like, cause I'm a teacher. If you did not know that, I'm a teacher, and so like I work in a fine arts department. I'm the department chair. Whenever I go talk to the art teachers, they're always just doodling or painting something while they're just talking to me, just like you are. It's just the nature of habit. I'm assuming it's something you always like to be doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's you know, if you're not doing that, then maybe you should be doing something that you are choosing to do in your off time, right? So this is a signature series creator agreement. This is like solid gold to CGC. You put your information at the bottom, their information at the top. If you're gonna have it charged through your client's account, you can use these up here. Generally, I just charge it through my account because it's cheaper, and then I send it out to the people who want it. But sometimes people want it charged through their account because then it only ships once. You know, that's really the only difference. Depends on what your how concerned you are about shipping it. You know, like a guy lives in Sarasota, and so he's like, I don't want it. I just want it to ship from them to me. I don't want it to go all the way to Washington and then come back to me. So he's willing to pay like that. It's like $5 or $10 extra to do it that way. But yeah.
Speaking of school, Michael Tolp says your best subject was art then. I'm assuming so.
I mean, I was pretty good at all my subjects. I would like ignore all my homework, and then when test time came, I would kind of crunch down on it and get like a B. And then at the end of the semester, my teachers would be like, well, you didn't do your homework, but you get like a B on your test, so I'll just give you like a D. Like I made a lot of deals with my teachers, you know, to kind of get through those hard times of me not wanting to do homework. And it worked out. But yeah, I mean, art, I would always get an A. I like chemistry. Chemistry was great.
I never took chemistry one time, not in high school or college.
Yeah. No, I loved it. I thought it was very cool.
Nice.
I generally enjoyed school. I was just I hated the idea of homework. That really pissed me off. I was a good learner, but I just basically just refused to do any homework. I was like, you know what? If I can get a D and pass and not do homework, that's fine with me. I don't plan on being a fucking rocket scientist or something.
That I have to, as a teacher, always get on. You're at a 68. Just do 2 assignments to get a C. Nah, I'm good. You are one of those students.
Yeah, I would make a bet with you. I'd be like, I bet that I could get a D and do one of those 2 assignments, and then you'd say no, and I'd say, we'll see. Just make a little.
Oh shoot, that's amazing. Okay, I want to show off some more work of yours as well, and I'm going to ask you to tell me, of the artwork that you've started making, is there a particular one that you enjoy or that you like more than any of the other colors? You could pick maybe 1 or 2. Which are some of the favorites you've done?
I really like the Lethal Protectors, the Sleeper and the Toxin. I think those are great. I liked working on that red Carnage blank. That was fun because I got to do whatever I wanted on that. It's go down right there. Those 2 red. Yep, that's the back, and yeah, that's the back of it. And I think there was like 18 characters on the back. Yeah, that's the front.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And this is all paint.
That's some of it's acrylic paint, but mostly it's these Sharpie oil paint pens, which it is definitely paint, but it comes right out of the tube.
So that's what Crain uses. He makes his signatures, right?
Yep, he uses these for his revisions and his signatures. He can paint with anything, though. It's pretty amazing. Like when he does digital stuff, you're like, wow, that's great. But then sometimes he does traditional with like paint with acrylic, and it looks just like his digital work. So it's like, oh man, he's just good with everything. He's an anomaly. You can't even put him on the speed at which he does it is the most mind-blowing aspect, man. Like,
oh my gosh, dude! So you watched that video that I made when you guys came to Topeka, and he did this. He did this remark cover of the Batman Who Laughs with a Robin colored.
yeah,
He did it in about 10 minutes.
yep.
And it was just like I sped it up, but like just watching him do it, he makes it look so easy, and he does it
Yeah.
so quickly.
I asked him about that one time, and he said, he said, you know, usually when I lay down paint, I lay it down in the right spot, and that's just what I usually do. Is it just usually goes right to the right spot? I'm like, God damn it! Like, you don't say, really. Interesting.
That is just a badass being a badass right there. That is just amazing.
Yeah.
When I lay down, it's usually in the right spot. That is absolutely incredible.
He has this way of being right, making you laugh, and emasculating you all in one pointed, and he'll do it all day. And it's like, man, don't you ever run out of whatever you're running on? And he's like, nope. You know, I was having dinner with him. The last time I had dinner with him, my wife and I, and we're actually having drinks, which is pretty rare. And then he didn't drink one drink of water for like a whole 3 hours. And I had drank like a whole pitcher and a half. I kept asking for water.
Right.
And at the end of the night, me and my wife looked at his glass, and he hadn't touched his water glass. And we're like, how do you even do that, man? Like, when you're on tour with him, he's the same way. He eats and drinks like a bird, man. Like, he's like, I always think of that when I think of how, anyway, so like, I always think of Kung Fu Panda when they say like you can drink they're referencing like something from the ancient Vedas or whatever, some Indian text where it's like you can drink the energy of a dewdrop and just survive on that, then you're like enlightened or something. I'm like, Clayton can basically do that. Like, he doesn't need any sustenance like you or me do, you know. It's like,
he is a pretty skinny dude. I will say that. So
he is.
Okay, so now that you've pretty much touched on it, I have to ask the question. Can you tell me a memorable story, whether it be just a funny thing that happened or something you guys did, staying at an Airbnb? Just tell me a funny story or a good story about one of the road tours you guys were on, one of the stops you were at, either at the stop or where you guys stayed at. I want to hear some good stories here.
You know, basically we just had a good time the whole time and just made funny jokes. There's not really like anything too amazing to talk about. I mean, like we'd have like cool coincidences almost every day. Like we would talk about Gary Coleman, and then 10 minutes later we'd pull into a gas station, and the guy running it was a black midget. And it's like, that's pretty coincidental. That's not every day you run into a black midget. And also, we never talk about Gary Coleman. And then on another stop, I was telling him about how his comics, he's often got like a black kind of evil comic, like a demon, like Venom. And then he'll sign it with like a nice rainbow signature, a cotton candy signature, and how it reminds me of Ronnie James Dio or Rainbow. They do a song called Rainbow in the Dark. And then I was telling him that, and then literally 30 seconds later on the radio comes that song when we were doing a signing.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, isn't that just weird? But it's like every day we'd get some kind of weird kind of like coincidence that would bounce off it, you know, or we'd meet someone who has a really cool story, you know, that would resonate with us, or we just had a great time, you know, like never any car trouble we encountered, we'd figure it out, you know, never had anybody give us any problems, or it's just a good time, you know. That's true for both tours actually. So I like to describe Clayton as like a Tesla coil of energy, and just being around him creates like fun coincidences, and people are just happy, you know. And it's like, it's because people know who he is, you know. It's kind of that celebrity thing, but that energy is real. Like, it's very that's probably what sustains him. That's why he doesn't need to eat food, is he's just kind of taxing us of all of our energy.
He's just always energetic.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember, so when I met him, I went up there and I was super nervous, just like I was just as nervous meeting him as I was meeting the Green Ranger, which I got a photo of me and him right there. Anyways, I get up there and I'm like, I get all my books ready, and I'm going to show off a few here in a second. I said, hey, I have a YouTube channel about comic books. Would you mind if I shot some video? He goes, no, go ahead. So I pan one side, and then I get ready to pan back the other side. And he looks at me and smiles, and he goes, okay, now grab your books and get out of here. He was joking, and he smiled and laughed. And it made me feel like, like he's cool enough that he can joke with people like that. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. So sometimes he has a very stale sense of humor, and sometimes it doesn't land. But and then he'll be like, I think that person didn't get my joke, and it's like he'll be like a day later. I'm like, it doesn't matter, man. It's like they either get it or they don't.
We're just happy to meet you, bro. Okay, I'm going to show off some of these books really quick that I got signed, and we're going to get back to some of your art here because I got some more questions that I want to talk to you about. So I got this signed. I really wanted to get it. I probably should have gotten it CGC, honestly, because it's just a thick cover, sweet signature. Miles number 1.
That's the Virgin too. That's real nice.
Here's the Virgin. Yep. Batman 77 signed. Now people don't know that this is the death of Alfred as well.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, someone brought one of those in at the Colorado stop back in the first tour, and he asked Clayton if he would do a Alfred from the animated series on there, and he handed him a photo of Alfred, and then Clayton started doing it, and he made it just like super photorealistic, and it's like he can't even help himself. You give him a cartoon character, and he makes it look like a photograph. But
holy cow, dude! That's insane. This one of my friends, Carlito, who was there with me. I think you remember I was there with a couple of my friends. He gave me this book to get signed, the TMNT number 100.
Yeah.
I love this one.
Beautiful. I can't remember your friend's name, but he was the one who really liked Michelangelo. Is that right?
Ben. So that's Ben, and then the other friend was Adrian Panda. Adrian Panda. He was the other dude that was with me. He's also
Adrian Panda.
He's the one who posted a photo with you on the Craniacs page. He wanted to take
right. Wasn't he decked out in TMNT stuff as well?
He had a TMNT shirt as well. Yes, he did.
Oh, okay.
Look at your memory, man. That's incredible.
That's all right.
I got this as well. I actually bought it that day. I'd wanted to get this for a while, and I got it. Actually, I got it from Ben, who had it like consignment. Power Rangers number 40, and then I had him sign it.
Yeah, there's an even rarer version of that book, but
it's like blurred out in the back and all gold and whatnot from a con, I want to say.
Right. It's not much of a variant. It looks identical to that one, but
it's very similar. And then obviously I had to have this one. And
for sure.
You're like, you need to keep that COA. So I did. And then I put it in the back of the bag.
Yep. So, don't ever send your COAs to CGC as a public service announcement. So I took a poll of everyone on the tour, and about 40% of them said that they got their COAs back. 60% of them said they never got them back. So there you go. It's about 50-50. They'll send them to you or not.
COAs.
Yep.
So, there we go.
Not that, they're cool to have.
Austin just combed his beard mid-story.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. That's hilarious. Okay. All right. Let's get back to some of your art here. I will tell you what, when I first saw your art, I thought, because I don't know anything about art, I thought it was like chalk almost because of the way the paint looks on there. Have you had people ask you that before? Like, is that chalk paint, or like do people not understand like the type of like art you do?
I haven't had anyone that misguided yet. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm stupid.
That's funny. That's funny you say that though, because these Posca pens that I use, they do actually have a very a matte, which is not shiny, a matte texture, which looks like chalk. So,
Okay, so this one in particular, I looked at it and I was like, that looks like chalk. How is he doing that?
That is all the Sharpie, so that's all the glossy ones. So every bit of that book is actually really shiny when you look at it. But the way that I do it is the way that Clayton does it, which is basically you just lay down some paint and then you take your fingers and just start tapping it and then pushing it and rubbing it in the direction you want. It creates that kind of gradient effect.
I can see it all over, man, and all
Right.
the shadows. I can see the thumbprints, which is he's obviously known for his thumbprint on books. So.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of where he got it from. Is he's like, man, my thumbprints are all over these books. Like, if I could find a way to guarantee that I signed something with a fingerprint, then that would be like CGC's guarantee, but for myself.
I like this cover a lot too. I love this show, man. It's a great.
That one came out great. I was pretty nervous about that one when I started, and then I was like, you know what? That baby, I wasn't finished with it until I thought that Baby Yoda was cute. And I was like, all right, now he looks pretty cute, so I can be done with it.
I want to put a link to your Instagram here into the chat. And if I can find it, yeah, there it is. I want to put a link to your Facebook group as well. Because you go live, I mean, I want to say sometimes it's like twice a day. And you go live and you're just painting there and you have your OBS set up where you got a camera on you, a camera on what you're painting, and then the other one is showing off some of your work. Is that right?
Correct. Yep. Precisely. I love OBS Studio. For anyone who's out there trying to, sell your art, like half of what I do is almost performance art. Like, I realize that painting by yourself is a lot different than painting in front of people. I mean, that's obviously like a no-brainer to most people, but I'm a kind of a slow guy. So over time, I'm like, yeah, it is a lot different. I can feel, sometimes I like to paint offline, sometimes I like to paint online, but what you got to do is realize that you're doing like a performance art. So like, for instance, when I'm doing a revision now, I will start with the parts that people want to see the most. Because at first I thought, well, I have to start from
the top,
from left downward, and I was like, well, that's not really true. I can kind of start wherever I want. So once you get more comfortable with it, you kind of start figuring out different tricks. And I was like, what I should do is do the face, then do the chest symbol or something distinctive about the costume, right? Usually people got chest symbols, and then do just things that are like pow, 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 to where like if you're looking at it, you don't want it to all come together at the last moment, which is what usually and still does happen with my work. But I will, you got to realize that you're doing some performance art, and you got to kind of play into that slightly. But it's whatever you want it to be. That's what art is it's a game where there are no rules, and the only rule is to there really are no rules. Like, if you want to sell your art, then there's rules, but even then, not really.
Cool Superman shirt.
Thank you. I love Superboy.
Tony Cavs. I'm friends with a famous person. OMG.
Yes, Tony Cavs. He's somebody I chat with pretty regularly. He's just being a little turd, as I would call him. Just kidding.
So is your art drawn over an actual comic or just a homage type? I believe both. You've done on sketch covers, but a lot of times you'll go over the top of a Crain or a Farland or a Scan, or it just depends on what you're feeling or what people want to pay you to do, right?
Correct. Yes, exactly. Somebody said they wanted to have Aaron Bartling's Last Ronin, but with some alterations. And I was like, well, you could send me an Aaron Bartling and I could just go over it and I would charge you X dollars, or we could use this blank and I would charge you 5 times that price, because I have to sketch out the entire cover and paint the entire cover rather than just add in the characters he wants to add in. And he was like, well, seeing as the Aaron Bartling book is like $700, we'll just take the blank option, because that's still, it ended up being like, it's in line now. You'll see it in a few months, but, end up being like a several $100 piece, but it's still nowhere near the cost of the Bartling book, right? So it just depends on what you want and what you're willing to pay and et cetera, et cetera. But, revisions are fun. It's just, art is what you make of it. And anyone who wants to tell you that there's a rule to art is wrong. I mean, it is wrong to plagiarize, obviously. And when I make prints, which my prints are coming soon, what I'll do is take it into Photoshop and remove any art that's not mine. Like I'll leave the Infinity Gauntlet of Scan Skisuan or whatever, or I'll leave the webs behind Anti-Venom that Crain did. But that's because it's a revision and I'm selling it as a comic revision and I'm not selling it as a print. That would actually be illegal. The people who own the rights to that image, being Marvel, probably could come in and actually sue me for that if I tried to make prints. They wouldn't because I'm not making a lot of money, but it's still like the principle of the thing is I'm not going to put my name on someone else's art and then try to sell it as a print, right? It's like, so people sometimes say like, oh, you're selling commissions and that's not your art. And it's like, well, I'm not saying it is. I always credit the cover and the artist that I'm drawing over. And so I see other artists kind of make that mistake, is that they will put their name, they'll go into Photoshop and they'll just change the face on something and then they'll put their name on it and start selling prints. And it's like, people, I really am just trying to get the word out, that because people don't understand the difference between those two things. One is very bad. The other one is morally and legally okay, right? So it's like one of them things. But so yeah, I will have prints on the way soon, but it takes me time, right? Because I'm drawing my own webs for my Spider-Man 1 homages, and like I'm halfway done. It's taken me like an hour and a half. Those webs are an insane amount of work. So
I'm gonna pull up some of these things people say in the chat, and then I want to ask you about something. Dale says, I won't forget Crain sketching my Gwynnum and getting lost in it when you guys came to Colorado Springs. He said the next time he visits, he would finish it. LOL, because the line was getting too long. Which I'm assuming there's always a super long line for remarks, sketches, and just signatures in general. Like, I'm assuming in the bigger cities, way more people are there. It's like,
right. We might just do only small towns on the next tour, because when you go to a big town, you're coming to them and it clogs up traffic and nobody cares or notices generally in terms of like the city and its economy, and it's irrelevant and people take you for granted and the lines are out the door. But if you go to a small town, then you're bringing people from bigger towns to that small town. You're helping the economy. People appreciate it. People have to work for it. You're not coming to them. They're coming to you. You know what I mean? So we may institute that, but it's all still up in the air.
we're trying to make it back to Topeka because I got some books.
Yeah.
Like that Wolverine 8 Blacklight that I told you I got the other day.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dude, I'm super excited about that. Crain
that book is on fire.
It is. Crain is top shelf. I think you told me the other day during your live stream, you believe that he is a, quote, genius.
I would say that's true.
Yeah,
he's definitely a genius, and there's all kinds of ways to quantify that, but just the amount of time that I've spent with him and seeing his process and stuff, it's like he is like the Mozart of comic books. Like, he is quick, he is really smart, he nails it every single time. And it's like, I mean, yeah, some of his stuff is not like the greatest work on earth. I mean, no one's is, but when you look at his work as a whole, it's like, and just the amount of time he puts into it is so insane, how quick that he can produce something really good. But then he'll spend lots of time to do details and stuff on it. But like, just as an artist, it's like time is one of your most valuable commodities, and it makes me very upset the amount of time that it takes for him to create some massively good work. But like, he would tell me that he would draw for 10 to 12 hours a day when he was doing pencils when he first started out. And I believe him, because that's what it takes to do that and be able to survive on your own. And that was his only job for a while. But it's just like, it's next level, the amount of work that he's put into his art. And now it pays off in the fact that he can produce art so quickly now. It's like, it really just stems from that initial work. Like, I can only draw for 6 hours a day at max, and I can only draw for an hour and a half, and I have to take breaks because your brain gets fried,
Yep.
and you'll experience a thing called burnout, where you look at the piece of paper and you feel a physical pain because your brain is like, you didn't eat the right food beforehand and you got brain pain. And so your brain associates that pain with drawing. And so it makes it really hard to draw sometimes. A lot of artists run into that when they're actually trying to go to art school or whatever. They drop out of art school. They try to, just whatever they're doing. They get people shit on their art and then they fizzle out. It's important to not go down that route. You got to really pace yourself and think of it as a marathon where you're not sprinting, right? So,
Right.
but guys like him can just run all day, apparently.
Energy for days. Mike Tulp says, or Michael Tulp, because of your CGC artist standing, CGC doesn't grade down for the books you revise and send in, correct? You have a 9.4 of a book, so they still grade it.
Yeah,
I understand. They'll grade it whatever grade it's in, regardless of the fact that he's an artist, right?
yeah. They'll ignore certain things. Like if I splash paint everywhere, they're not going to be like, "Oh, this is ugly. We're going to give him a bad grade." Like they'll ignore any painting I do, and they'll just grade it like normal.
Gotcha. Billings, Montana. Topeka is small enough, right? Yeah, it's only 150,000. So while it is the capital of Kansas, it is still very small in comparison to other cities. So hopefully it's still small enough for Clayton Crain to come back, because we would love to have him. I was lucky enough that Crain did a small remark for free after I forgot to Crain by my Tech 1000. Such a nice guy.
He gives freebies away all the time, and he's so funny. Like, I had to have a talk with him one day about how he promises shops quick sketches and he'll give them full painted commissions, or not full painted commissions, but these nice 15-20 minute painted commissions. And I'm like, it's not a quick sketch, Clayton. Like, he calls what he does, like, he won't call what he does on blank sketches. He'll call them like remarks or revisions, but he won't call them sketches. I'm like, what you do is so far beyond a sketch that it's like, you couldn't even, it's beyond a sketch. You can't call it anything short of a sketch. It's like a full painted commission. And he's like, well, that's true. And I'm like, how are you just now like is this something that we have to talk about? He's just got this mindset where he's like, he just loves giving away freebies and just being like, it's not a big deal, But
That's awesome. So you're saying you eat a balanced breakfast before drawing? Says Tony Cabs.
Absolutely, man. Clayton taught me. I told him, I was like, I try to not really have like a set routine, right? Like thinking I'm cool. I probably told him that when I was like 20 something. He's like, he looked at me like all weird, and he's like, a routine is where you get your power. Like, you need to have a good routine so that you can like just nail it, like just fucking nail it. And I was like,
He's like a peak human being, it sounds.
Never thought about that. I mean, I guess that's true. And then I'm finding out as now I'm doing the art thing, I'm like, you do need a set routine for sure. Like, it,
right?
Absolutely.
We have a super chat. Thank you, Michael. Was there any revision that stumped you for a bit? Difficulty, etc.
They all stump me a little bit but once I do one over again, I get more comfortable. Like the Spider-Man ones were like my first. I did a Green Goblin over Spider-Man 1, right? Anyone who knows that book, I think I have one right here. So this is a Clayton Crain Spider-Man 1, and people like these and Lethal Protectors for me to just do different characters on them because they're so iconic and classic, right? And I did a Green Goblin over that as one of my first revisions, and that one sold like immediately. And I was like, okay, maybe people like that. And then I just did I've probably done like 7 or 8 of those now, and it's like I've done 2 Lethal Protectors. So basically, the more you do one, the better you get at it. But they're all like Clayton would say, they're every piece you do is like a puzzle, and you're trying to do that Rubik's Cube and solve it. And if you can solve, because there's a million problems on the page where it's like, well, you want the light on his head to look like it's in the right lighting, and you want his chest to look like the correct shape, and you need this color to interact with that color and the contrast line, etc., etc. And it's like, these are all problems that you have to solve as an artist, you know. So basically, yeah, I mean, and also to do it on a live stream and to do it over, say, like an expensive comic, like I've done many comics that are the Red Absolute Carnage at the time was worth over $200, and there's like a Ultimate Fallout 4 second print that I did, and that book is whatever, I have no idea, but like you got to have
$8, they're not $3 books.
Right, like you got to test yourself on some cheaper books, but if you're going to do this kind of thing, especially on a live stream, like you got to be pretty ballsy. You got to have be pretty confident, I guess is the word to say, but just figure it out. You know, every piece is different. There's no piece in particular that gave me a super hard time. Like I said, the Mandalorian, I was super nervous about the Mandalorian. I was like, ooh, because the thing that made me nervous was his chrome armor. I'm like, man, I got to remake this chrome armor. Should I use my white pen? Should I use my silver pen? Because I have like a metallic silver pen. I went with the white pen, and it came out really nice. So it's like just and that's the other thing about being an artist is it's fucking hard, man, because you got to make a choice and stick with it. And yeah, you can fix some mistakes you make, and you're just making more problems for yourself. But just trying to figure it out, you know, is half the battle. But anyone who's out there who's having trouble with a piece, you'll figure it out. Just keep going, man. You got it.
We'll go for about another 5 or 10 minutes. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. My friend Mark from Legion of Comics said, Austin, you said, really, Clayton, remarks already, when he was doing it to mine. When he's talking about he forgot the infinity signature.
Well, the thing about touring with Clayton is you got to keep that MFer in check sometimes, because he will start, like, we have code words for things like chicken talk is when he's talking to somebody for like more than a minute, and it's like, have you seen the line going out the door, Clayton? Like every 30 seconds that you talk to this guy, another guy doesn't get his signature, and then it's like, you know, you got to keep all these things in check. And we keep a positive attitude throughout the whole thing. We have fun the whole time, but it's like sometimes you got to you know, you got to make a plan beforehand, be like, all right, well, here's what we did wrong, here's what we need to fix. We need to you know, talk less, get the line moving this way, you know, do X, Y, and Z. And we work like a duo, like a dynamic duo. And I mean, I don't know how he helps me aside from paying my bills, but I help him, and we get it done. So
I got 2 more questions for you, actually 3. First question is, Clayton Crain was the reason why you started doing your own art and selling it. Am I correct there? I believe you on one of your live streams. He's the one who pushed you to start doing what you're doing, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
So he saw your art and he said, you're good enough to start selling it. People will buy it. And you decided just to do it just about like 6 to 8 months ago, right?
Yeah, I started back in like August, July, kind of.
So basically right after or right at the end of the road trip.
Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't say that he was like, wow, you're so good, you need to start selling stuff. But like, basically, I would just ask him questions like, well, if somebody wanted to do this, what would you do? And he has complimented my art, and he thinks that, you know, I could do whatever I want if I try hard enough. But he's very supportive, and he will answer any questions that I have, which is also very helpful. But basically, like, he said, he tries not to compliment people too much, because and this might be good for any artists out there listening, is his perspective is you shouldn't compliment artists. And like, I don't think I've ever seen him compliment anyone's art. He has given me a couple of compliments on a couple of pieces, but it's just very, very Like, he's not like, oh, that's great every time you show him something, right? And the reason for that is because he wants you to want it. He wants you to chase after that feeling, because when you give someone gratification, which is something I'm bad at doing, is I will be like, someone's talking and I'll be nodding. I'll be like, yes, yes, even though I'm not even listening to what they're saying, I'm automatically giving them the agreeing with them or to whatever they're saying. Or
Sure.
they'll show me something, I'll say, oh, that's great. And I'll just be like, maybe it's great, maybe it's not. But he wants you to want it really bad. And he says, like, a lot of professionals that I couldn't name and I wouldn't name would be like, they'll get letters from people that's like, hey, here's a sample of my art or a sample of my writing, and what do you think? And then they'll just be brutally honest. They'll be like, this is what's wrong with it. This is what's wrong with it. You need to go work on it for X years before you can get some professional work. And that's happened to me when I bring my pencils to cons, and that's fine. And like, I think that my art is pretty good in terms of my revisions now, but it's just like, basically, it doesn't matter what other people say, is what you need to keep in your mind. And when people say you're not good enough or your art's not good enough, what you need to go is turn around and go make art that is better. That's the bottom line. And maybe those people are right, maybe they're wrong. It doesn't really matter, because the fact is that this is what Clayton would say, is that the people who are going to make it are going to make it, and the people who aren't going to make it aren't going to make it. And no amount of saying no to the people who are going to make it is going to stop them. So the more that you say no to the people who are eventually going to make it, the better they're going to be in the end, because they're going to try harder, and they're going to try harder, and they're going to try harder. And then they're going to come back with something really, really good to where they're undeniable, and you cannot stop them. And if you don't print them, someone else is going to print them, etc. Right? So it's like, that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for anybody to just put out art. That's what we have pencilers and inkers and colorists for, is people who are just putting out art. They're just looking for work, right? They're flatters, stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think that you should try to escalate to where you are making all of your own art. That's what Clayton does. He's a full illustrator. He doesn't do pencils anymore. He doesn't ink. He doesn't color. He just illustrates the entire thing. So like, art is whatever you want it to be. If you get offended by what I said, that's fine. You should quit. I'm just kidding. That's exactly what Clayton would say. And then he'd laugh at the end.
That's hilarious. I have two more questions really quick, and then I'll get out of your hair. When you guys do your another road tour, I did not do this last time, and I felt like I should have done it. People need to make signing windows, correct? Because otherwise you have to take it out in front of him, have him sign it. He's got to push it to the side. Like, what are some things that people should do to make sure they do at the next Clayton Crain signing tour?
Oh, this is a great opportunity to give you my spiel. So I don't know what the prices will be for the next tour, but basically, just get there as early as you can, because we're only going to be able to sign. I mean, we should have more help this time. Maybe Black Flag will come with us, is the plan, I think. And we should be able to get through more people. But last time we were doing noon to 5, we were getting through about 60 to 70 people. So make sure that you're at least that far up in the line, right? And then if you want a revision, try to be number 1 in line. We might be limiting the revisions, so there might not be any available. I'm not sure. I have no idea. When you're in line, if you're next in line, you're getting the next 5 guys in line. Take all your books out of their bags. If you have window bags, that's okay, but just remember that Clayton knows where to sign it better than you. Unless you have a very specific idea of where you want him to sign it, then it's okay. It's a case-by-case basis on that. Some people make window bags that are way too small. The windows are way too small. So like, look up his signature, look at how long it is, make sure it can fit in there, make sure that it's all correct. And then most people who do that have an idea of what color they want, where they want it signed. Clayton will try to fulfill that to the best. I don't think he's ever denied someone a request of color and position in terms of a signature. So as long as you keep those things in mind, it's fine. But just don't use those bags that has the adhesive strip on the back of the bag and can never be removed. And you know what I'm talking about, because when you use those bags, people will move books and they will land on another book. I've seen 2 books get destroyed. Like one of them was a really expensive book, and we're like, sorry, man, he did it to himself. And we're like, sorry, man, you're going to have to press that book if you want to try to salvage it. Maybe it'll get pressed out. You know, it had like a big line crease across the top. And it's like, I've seen those 2 books. That's more books than I've ever seen get destroyed by anything else in the whole of me doing comics. So don't use those bags, please, for the love of God. That's all I got to say on that.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, the last question here is, where can people find you? What are some stuff that you're doing? I know that you said you have a line of people that are waiting on some stuff. I put the link out there, but you want to talk about how people can find you on Facebook, Instagram, all that, how they can get some revisions and some art done by you. And are you going to do any art at the next Crain signing tour?
No. Maybe when I'm published and people want to pay me for a signature, maybe I will get to elevate myself from an assistant, but I don't think I want to. You know, I think that in the future, if I can do my own signing, that would be cool. But maybe if I just doubt it, because I like doing it. I like being his assistant. It's fun. And I think that I'll just always do that, no matter if I became like if I like won the lottery tomorrow and I didn't have to work the rest of my life, I would still do it because it's fun.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but no, that's Crain time. Like, people are probably going to recognize me and we're going to have fun, but maybe I'll sign books if it's not too busy, just for fun, but like, I'm not going to charge anyone, or I'll be working the whole time.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, man. And like I said, do you want to talk real quick about your Facebook, Instagram, and all that stuff, about how can people get a hold of you? And
right. So I'm rarely on Instagram. If you message me, I will eventually message you back. That's at Austin _Otte _comics, or art _official. I don't know. It's really bad. And then on Facebook, I'm just Austin Otte on Facebook, but my group is facebook.com/groups/Austin Otte. And then the Clayton Crain group that I'm an admin for is facebook.com/groups/Clayton Crain. So one is just my full name, one is his full name, and join both those groups. We're on to our second giveaway in the Crain group, and we got 2 more planned, and we're just going to do lots of fun giveaways and exclusives there. And some news for your people is that we will have some sweet revisions and commissions that will be for auction only on that page. So make sure to get on there so that you have an opportunity to get.
I'm on Clayton Crain's fan page. I saw the giveaway. I'm on your page. I'm friends with you on I think I'm friends with you on Facebook as well as Instagram. So
yeah,
is that the official group? Yeah. So there's one for Clayton Crain's fans. Yes, I know there is a lesser non-official group for Mr. Crain.
Yeah, that's Tony. He knows about the group. He's in the group. He's just joshing.
Okay, I gotcha.
But we have a little bit of rivalry with the Craniacs, but we're the superior group, so you'll see.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, if it's run by you, it's got to be superior. So
yeah, no, we do have a lot of fun on there.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, Austin, for coming on, man. This was a lot of fun, and maybe we'll do it again another time.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Just let me know.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Again, my name is Steve from Burke Family 54 Comics. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. And as always, go Cats, Cowabunga.